I brought my fiance to the family party despite my famous cousin's wishes.
Who's your cousin?
My cousin is very famous. You have heard of him.
No,
and
what
no,
who? Who's
I
the
won't
cousin?
tell you who he is. We'll call him Terry. Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
By the way, this comes from Xmas Hole 111. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So when we have family functions, mainly for holidays, Terry likes for them to be only family so he can be himself and get wasted and pass out on the couch and share Hollywood gossip with us. Otherwise, he feels like he's being interviewed and having everyone talk to him or want a picture, or he has to be in promo mode. He said it's because he was tired of having to meet strangers and not be able to let loose. And there's some issues of these partners taking pics of him or spreading gossip. He's too famous. He's too famous.
He's just too cool.
I feel like that, honestly, you know, that could be a real issue.
Yeah.
I hated this at first because I would be dating some chick and she would want to get to meet him, and it's awkward to tell them they can't come to family events, and they get mad and they never get to meet. My Tinder pic has a pic of me with Terry.
Who is this?
I'm just like,
But I get it, so I was fine with it until this year. I began dating this chick. I don't know.
I just like, they just date me for him, and then they're mad that I can't show him to him.
Yeah, they're dating me for him. Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, you're flexing it too much. Also, I like when I feel like you say like dating this chick. It just sounds like you're a frat bro.
Yeah.
I was dating this chick in August. Couldn't bring her to Thanksgiving, fine. But when I walk in, I see another cousin, Danielle, has brought her boyfriend, Steve.
Not
Even
Steve.
though they've been together for less than a year. They got together over New Year's, engaged on Halloween. Terry was fine with this because he's met Steve before, old family friend, even though I've been told that no exceptions are allowed to his rule. Thanksgiving sucked because the whole time I was mad that I once again was allowed to bring my girlfriend. My girlfriend consoled me after, and I realized that she's my soulmate. She's my freaking soulmate. Terry didn't let me be my soulmate to Thanksgiving. 2 weeks ago, I proposed and we got engaged. I feel like he's like, I'm going to show Terry. I'm going to be able to bring her next Thanksgiving.
That's I'm a little worried. This is only for Terry.
Xmas was at my aunt's, and I'm a believer in ask for forgiveness, not permission. So I brought my fiance because she had nowhere else to go, and I wanted her to meet my family. We all walk into the house, and then all heck breaks loose. Everyone was asking who she was and scolding me about the rules, and Terry flipped out. He was already buzzed and looked 20 pounds heavier than he usually presents himself and started yelling at me for doing this to him. He didn't seem excited at all about my engagement or willing to introduce himself to her. Okay, really quick, there's a lot more to the story, but who is the a-hole, OP or Terry?
Oh, at the beginning of the story, I was like, hardcore, I think OP.
Yep.
If you didn't get engaged just to do this to Terry, then Terry is. But if you only sped this up for Terry, then you are.
Yeah. There's a little bit of me that feels that he sped it up just to stick it to Terry.
That's what I feel like. In which case, I think OP would be the a-hole a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, it sounds like she's... I love how he's like, yeah, she comforted me about not being able to bring her to Thanksgiving. Soulmate. That girl is my soulmate.
She was clearly fine with not coming. Soulmate.
Well, our grandma was telling Terry to get over it and asking to see the ring and saying she wished she had gotten my fiance a gift. So my grandma was on my side. Let's go. But Terry was still arguing with me and said I shouldn't be allowed at any more events. And he ended up calling an Uber Black. Ooh.
Not just a regular Uber.
And leaving before we even ate. To top it all off, my uncle, who has never even liked Terry, got upset because apparently Terry has his secret Santa, so he didn't get a gift. So my uncle started blaming me for ruining Christmas. I get they are mad. But it was clear there was an exception for fiancés, and I'm embarrassed that my family was so rude to her when I just didn't want her to be alone on Christmas. Am I the a-hole? There's a lot more to this story.
Yeah, by the end of that, Terry... Yeah, you were pushing it there, buddy.
OP was the a-hole in the beginning. Terry was the a-hole near the end. I think fiancés should be able to come.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But did it sound like that was when they were finding out that she was his fiance?
What?
Like, they didn't show up to Christmas to be like, by the way.
I think they announced that they were
before
Fiance.
Christmas.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think they found out there.
'Cause that's kind of putting the line back in of like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Queen Procrastination says communication. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I think you shouldn't have surprised the family with it. I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
OP surprised the family with this new person. Everyone's like, "Who's this new person?" He's like, "It's my fiance," and they're like, "Well,
That's
there's
kinda
new
weird.
people." But I think if it's your fiance, it's fine. But you should have tested.
Yeah.
You should have announced. Well, verdict: everyone sucks. That's what we said.
Yeah.
Relevant comments. Samov91 says everyone's the a-hole. You could have asked. You could also not use your famous cousin as a pick on Tinder. OP responds, "Well, my matches skyrocket when I have a picture with them.
he gets all the chicks.
Just trying to level the playing field on the apps as a guy." Mom91, edit. Went from everyone's the a-hole to you're the a-hole based on new information. Did the family know ahead of time about the engagement? OP responds, "I didn't tell them about the engagement because I knew they would be critical because my previous engagements.
No, he totally did it for Terry.
Engagements did not end up working out." Prairie Mountain Zen says, "How many times have you been engaged?" OP twice before. Once when I was 19 and an idiot, so that didn't work out. And then again later on, and I thought she was the one, but it ended when she sent a story about my cousin to TMZ to make a prick buck. Hence Terry's rule.
You're the reason.
You're the reason.
You're the reason. You should have said that in the beginning.
You're
Dude.
the a-hole.
I think people are just matching with you to meet Terry. They're like, if I date this guy long enough and get engaged, I will meet Terry.
Which is exactly why Terry has the rule.
Who is this guy? Who's Terry? Okay, OP's the a-hole for sure.
Yeah.
Why am I so awesome? 9 says, "You're the a-hole. It sounds like this was the first meeting of a fiance you have been with for a very few months. Trying to compare to the other cousins' relationship is pointless. You said it yourself. They have met Terry a few times. Basically, you use his profile pic on Tinder, then wonder why he doesn't want fangirls trying to meet him at family functions. You would rather ask for forgiveness than permission, so decided not to discuss at all. At what point would you not be the a-hole?" And OP responds, "If I had told them, they would have told me not to come, or Terry would not have shown up, and everyone would be sad because he's the favorite. And my fiance isn't like my previous one. She's definitely not a fangirl and only asked a few times about getting a pic with him. A few times.
That's a fangirl.
A few times." Deb Destroyer TX says, "Why would she need a pic with your cousin?" OP says, "She's a photographer model, so it'd be good if she could take pics of him. But it's not like a priority or anything. Just, oh, wow, when I get to meet him, I'd love to get a pic with all of us."
OP sounds.
And the top guess who the cousin is. Zanuzzi says, most popular guess is Chris Evans. OP mentioned superhero before he deleted the comment. Also, OP being from Massachusetts and some other clues. OP deleted a comment about how other people use dogs and babies to get dates on apps, and he uses pics with superheroes. Also, OP denied that it's Chris Evans, which makes me think it's Chris Evans. Well, it's definitely an actor who plays a superhero
Paul
who likes to
Rudd.
do things with his family. Also, the story leaked to TMZ was an incident where many people close to cousin Terry was about, which tracks with what was leaked about Chris Evans on TMZ a few years back. Another thing leaked was some plot point about a movie, which makes me think it was Marvel movies. Also, OP repeatedly denying that it's not Chris Evans, just makes me think it's Chris Evans. OP hasn't responded to much except to deny that it was not Chris Evans. Who knows?
It could also be Paul Rudd. Isn't he from Boston and also a superhero?
Who?
Good.
Paul
Paul Rudd?
Ant-Man. Am I mixing those up?
I think OP is for sure an a-hole. For sure. Whoa. Update. Nobody has correctly guessed who Terry is, and I won't respond to any more guesses. And I don't use his picture to get girls.
Yes, you do.
I literally have Oriah, so I have no issues in that department. You said you were trying to make this playing field even.
Dude, you're
Also,
so shallow.
Raya is not the
literally
flex you
have
think it is.
Raya.
OP is so
I
shallow.
literally have
So
Raya.
shallow.
You also have a fiance.
Yeah.
Why are you on Raya?
I think you found her on Raya, maybe.
You better not have it anymore.
Yeah.
That was just because I was hot, but that worked out well.
By the way, you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. there's another relevant update. We're just going to dive right into it. Anyway, nobody talked to me yesterday, but I found out this morning that all is fine. Terry called me to apologize for making a scene and congratulated me on my engagement, and I accepted his apology. He also told me he went back and visited with family yesterday and gave my uncle his gift from Secret Santa, so Christmas isn't ruined for him. As for my fiance, she handled it all really well, even though it was an awkward way to meet my family, and my aunt made rude comments about her outfit. She also had the idea that we should have the family over for New Year's to make it up to them. So yeah, everybody was a bit dramatic, but no harm was done. Final comments. Oh, Crumbcake says, the important thing right now, did you apologize for being a major a-hole? Terry didn't owe you an apology. The rules are ultimately for his safety, and you broke them because you are being a selfish a-hole. Did you apologize? Because you're the one that owes him an apology. And seriously, get rid of that picture you use of him to get yourself laid. That's just gross. And deleted said there was not a mixed response in the slightest. The response doesn't lean towards you're the a-hole. Almost everyone thinks you're the a-hole. And those who don't think that say everyone's the a-hole. Admit your mistake. And OP has not admitted it. But that is where that story ends. I want to skip the family trip because my grandmother's reoccurring boyfriend will be there.
Grandma's got boyfriends.
I, 20 female, have a grandma, 71 female, and recently I've been thrown into the deep end. My grandfather passed away in 2018, leading my grandma to eventually start to live in our rental cottage on our property. By the way, this comes from Deleted. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, since his passing, I've gone through my years of graduating high school and becoming more of myself than just a child of the family. In the early years, I used to talk to my grandma all the time about my worries and doubts and just general stuff. She would do the same and we'd get along just fine. A fight between her and my father, 52 male, occurred about 3 years ago regarding my little cousin, and it strained their relationship significantly to the point of no speaking to each other for months on end until the dust eventually settled. I took her side in that argument, and that was that. My father never berated me for it, and I only did this because of how devastated it made my mom, 49 female, and the fights my mom and dad used to have about her. After this, the family was in strain for a while, but eventually it passed away down to civilness. And I can't remember when my grandma began to my patience, but it may have been around the time I began college. It's difficult for me to pinpoint the things that happened. One such occasion, though, I do remember, is a week in which my parents had gone on holiday and my grandma was placed in charge. I was still under 18 at this point. One night, I had mentioned to my little sisters, Maxine, 16 female now, and Christine, 11 now, making a surprise dinner for all my grandparents, my grandma and my paternal grandparents. Once my paternal grandparents arrived, we revealed the surprise and made dinner. During this dinner, my grandma sulked, barely spoke, and played with the food on her plate. The dinner that we made. A few hours afterwards, my mom, ever the enabler of her behavior, called me to lecture me because my grandma felt underhanded and felt cast aside because it was supposed to be just her looking after us. What? They made you all dinner and you feel slighted?
Yeah, what the heck?
I don't know about that. In my first year of university, I met my current boyfriend, Braxton. He's the most kind, loving, and helpful man I have ever known. I love him so much. Our first date was me attending his family's Christmas Eve. That is a crazy first date. What the heck? That's not normal.
Right into meeting the whole family.
Insane. That's insane. You're insane, OP. But we love you. And he attended our family's Christmas Day. Wait.
For the first 2 dates?
You met both of your families?
It's 24 hours of,
oh my God. It was initially very awkward for my family. Yeah, to adjust. But after a few months, he moved up to stay near me.
Huh?
What is this relationship? This is when I truly began to see my grandma in a different light. I barely existed when Braxton was around, and he came by nearly daily as he lived just down the street. She would constantly have something for Braxton to fix or help her with. Does Granny try to slide in?
Granny's gunning for back.
Her email didn't work, or she had groceries. She would call Braxton to help. My grandma would talk to him about his work, his studies, how his family was doing, all while making weird jokes and smiling at him a bit too widely.
Oh, Grandma.
Grandma shouldn't have.
No.
I, on the other hand, barely got a how are you before her attention was recaptured by Braxton. Your grandma a gilf, though? Braxton and I, at this point, figured she may be being too friendly, but there isn't much we can do without being rude. I mean, Braxton, I guess you have to sleep with her. You know, you don't want to be rude.
We wouldn't
Come
want
on.
to offend Grandma.
Throw a lady a bone. It's been what, like 10 years?
Come on, Braxton,
Come on,
get it
Braxton.
together.
Step
Girl
up to the
gotta
plate,
eat.
Braxton.
Girl got to eat. This type of behavior continued for around a year. During
Samuel.
this year, my grandma and I
That's
became
little feral.
strained as we barely spoke to one another, if not needed. I picked up my sisters, would make dinner occasionally, and studied. When my grandma's knee was too sore from what?
You know.
Oh, you know.
You know what?
I would make a plan to fetch my sisters. When my grandma had already made plans, I took on dinners as my mom was recovering from foot surgery. Then the new prospect arrived. His name was Ken, 65 male, and he was part of our church, so my mom and dad know him well. Initially, my grandma and Ken dated for 2 months, but they broke up soon after because my grandma never wanted anything serious.
With him. What about
Bro.
Braxton?
Grandma is playing the field. This was after he had attended our Christmas and New Year celebration. During their dating, Ken would force hugs and act as though he had been with my grandma for years. But after their breakup, he never spoke a word to any of us and basically ignored our existence completely at church. We, my sisters, myself, and Braxton, didn't think much of it and forgot about it again. Well, my 21st birthday is coming up in June, and my mom and dad had asked what I wanted to do. I'm not a people person, so instead of a big party, I asked if we could go to the coast as just us, a family, along with Braxton. My mom started by agreeing and began to search for places to stay. A few days later, she asked me to come sit with her and said, "Honey, I think we need to involve your grandparents too. It's a special occasion." She said, showing me places with 6 rooms instead of 3. I had specified previously that I did not want my grandparents and grandma there because I just wanted it to be my immediate family attending. She eventually guilted me into making a booking that allowed my grandparents to attend. I was quite upset by this because I felt as though my opinion on this was simply cast away. Still, I didn't bring it back up again. Around a month ago, my grandma's sister got engaged to be married. We were all ecstatic for her. Your grandma's sister, damn. All these people are getting married old. A week went by, and then all of a sudden, she and Ken were dating once again. A groan rose from all of us, but none of us said anything about it because it wasn't our business. However, it would soon become our business, as he popped up at family dinners, family events, and began to desperately act the role of a member of the family. He barely spoke to me or my sisters, but instead focused on my grandparents and my parents when we came over, and announced only an hour or 2 before arriving. Even after a month of dating, Braxton asked my grandma in a joking tone, "So when are you and Ken going to get together officially?" And without skipping a beat, my grandma gasped dramatically and answered, "Not yet. I have to be 100% sure," while giggling like a schoolgirl. Honestly, that's cute. That's cute.
Freaking adorable.
71 and giggling like a schoolgirl. During this month, I have been drilled to the brink of burnout. You and your grandma, as I write my exams for my last year in university in a week. I have barely slept.
Neither is Grandma.
Oh, and I have no idea what I'm studying and feel like I'm drowning. It's always Grandma. The only thing pushing me through this is the week away with my family and the love of my life. Today, I got back from the store and my mom sits me down and says, "Honey, I'm sorry for doing this. It completely slipped my mind. Your grandma asked me a few days ago if Ken could get his own accommodation near us by the coast when we go so he could come with." She began and I felt my stomach drop. I said, "Sure," before I knew what I had done. She finished, and I could have thrown up. I begged her not to allow it, and she said she will see what she can do. However, this meant she actually did nothing. When I asked her why she had not fixed her mistake, she said, "What if he already has made a booking?"
Wait, what?
I mean, if you corrected earlier, he probably didn't make a booking. It would be rude to disinvite him now, and what would I say to your grandma? Her boyfriend can't come because you don't want him here? By the way, I want you here. Listening to full episodes of stories just like this, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's another relevant update, but let's discuss, is OP being too stringent about not letting Ken come on this little vacay?
I mean, we already didn't want the grandparents there, and they're coming, so I don't see what the big deal is if Ken just comes too.
Yeah.
It'll keep Granny off of Braxton.
That's true.
We moved away from that really quickly.
That's true. You want Ken is distracting. It's a little like red thing while your granny's at bowl, you know, and you're gonna use Ken to lay away from just Pearson Braxton.
So I get the frustration of like she didn't want them there, but
But Opie goes on to say, I basically lost it. I felt as though my feelings for a day, one of my most special birthdays of my life, were being discarded because it would hurt a man's and my grandma's feelings if he wasn't allowed to intrude on a special family occasion. I said that if he attended, I would rather not go on the trip and I would have my birthday at home. My mom and dad then sat me down for a few minutes and did the classic family's important. When I brought up how I already had compromised my desire so that my grandparents and grandma could come with us on this vacation, I was given they only have memories now and they just want to be there. And at the end of the day, you only have family. So am I the a-hole? We have some comments. What do you think? Is OP the a-hole?
I don't think you're necessarily an a-hole, but I do think you're just going to have to get over it. And it's a bummer.
Comment 1, not the a-hole. Go with your boyfriend for your 21st. Reply, yeah, I agree with this. Tell your mom that as far as you are concerned, the trip is off. They're welcome to go to the beach, but you're not going. They couldn't respect your boundaries and then really cross them by inviting Ken along. Just go away with your boyfriend and enjoy some quiet solitude. Your parents can pound sand. The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. But it's your job to grow a spine to stand up for yourself. You're turning 21. It's time. You don't have no one to blame but yourself. And that's where that story ends.
I didn't realize she was turning 21.
Yeah, 21.
That's a bit of a bigger one.
Yeah, 21's a big one. I think you can, it's your birthday. You should be able to invite who you want.
Yeah.
If your family's paying for it and you want to go, like, I think, they have control a little bit over the present. But if it's your birthday, you can do something else, like on your actual birthday.
Yeah.
Spend some time. But also, I recognize like they are controlling the money, so they have a little bit more control over what happens with the vacation. My future sister-in-law claimed my family never RSVP'd, but I'm the only one seatless.
Steal one of their seats.
My brother-in-law is getting married soon. My husband is the best man, and our 4-year-old is the ring bearer. I'm a part-time party planner, so I've been helping plan a small luncheon for the bridal party, immediate family, and a few vendors on the wedding day. So I'm not exactly a fringe guest here. I'm main guest. By the way, this comes from Throwaway No Place 5878. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So the RSVP line was a few weeks ago. I filled out the online form and submitted it the same day the invitation came in the mail, with my husband sitting right there next to me. We RSVP'd for the 3 of us, me, my husband, and our son. Easy peasy, right? My brother-in-law's fiance, sister-in-law, reached out today over text saying, not, hey, I never saw your SVP, just checking, but straight up, you didn't respond, which is frustrating on its own. But then she tells us that while my husband and son have seats at the reception, as they were in part of the original head counts, I do not. My husband was told I could come early with him to set up the luncheon still and stay for the ceremony, but that I would not have a spot at the reception. Let me repeat. I'm married to the best man, mother of the ring bearer, and I'm helping with wedding day logistics, including connecting sister-in-law with some of my professional contacts, and somehow decided I wouldn't be coming. Excuse me? And she never followed up before the RSVP line. Just what? I'm torn between feeling hurt, furious, and just flabbergasted, feeling used. At best, this was a sloppy mistake and she's not owning. At worst, it feels like a pointed exclusion. Stopping right there. Pointed exclusion or sloppy excuse.
Ooh, I think that could be a pointed exclusion. How do you miss that?
How do you miss that? I feel like it's a pointed exclusion. I feel like that doesn't feel. I mean, I don't know how you miss that.
And how you don't check in. Like, hey, your husband and your son are going to be here. Just wanted to see why you're not coming. Everything good?
Yeah.
You think it would be automatic too, since husband's in the wedding.
Yeah.
And the son's in the wedding, or child's in the wedding, ring bearer, and it's like automatic. What?
Yeah. At worst, I feel it's like a pointed exclusion. I'm not sure which stings more. My husband is going to handle the conversation with his brother to figure out what is going on because I generally don't trust myself to be polite and keep the peace. There was no other drama leading up to this that I was aware of. I have a good relationship with my in-laws, so yeah, this is totally out of left field for me and my husband. I would love to hear thoughts, especially from people who have gone through something similar. I don't typically touch weddings with work, so this is all new territory for me as a pseudo vendor guest. My husband wants to reach out and talk to his brother first, but I'm so tempted to reach out to my mother-in-law before our usual meetup tomorrow to see if she knows anything. And we got an edit from one of the comments. Small update. Husband and brother-in-law are talking now. Brother-in-law was not working today, last night, and was helping father-in-law with something this evening. When I called mother-in-law, she had brother-in-law call husband right away. From what mother-in-law and I can hear, we're Snoopy. My husband was muted on brother-in-law's phone, and my contact was deleted. Brother-in-law can't log into the wedding website, so he can't check to see if our RSVP is there. I'm not sure if I want to become a firecracker myself. They get some popcorn as I watch mother-in-law pop off. We got another edit from the comments. Okay, last update for the night. I am tired and a bit overwhelmed by all of your responses. I'm sorry I haven't replied to them. Again, thank you for your advice, general support. This is really weird and upsetting. So my husband finally got a hold of brother-in-law after I called mother-in-law. No one else knew this was going on. While they were talking, brother-in-law tried logging into their wedding website to see if it was a mistake or misunderstanding, but he couldn't log in. So he texted her sister-in-law to see if she changed the password, and she just told him to come home instead. That's weird. This set off 3 alarms. 1, brother-in-law ended the call with husband to call sister-in-law about why she couldn't answer a simple question. 2, mother-in-law popped off about how dare that woman exclude OP, and 3, mother-in-law and father-in-law popped off on brother-in-law for already living with sister-in-law. They are very religious and traditional and don't believe that a couple should live together before marriage. Husband and I sympathize with brother-in-law. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law argued over the phone. Apparently, she started claiming that it was an unfortunate glitch. It was too late to add another seat now. Then it was that we never jived, and it would be really bad if I went home early. Plus, I could take our son home with me because he would be tired by then at 5 p.m. This woman does not know kids. Then it was, I've always been mean and excluding her from things. So it is on purpose, even though she's never invited me to any of the fun, girly wedding events. At this point, my husband and I are glued to my phone, and we're hearing yelling from all 4 of them until sister-in-law hangs up. Brother-in-law is spending the night at his parents' and is unsure about the wedding now. We're now entering call off the wedding territory. He plans on going home tomorrow with husband going with for moral support. I'll be going with hubby to my in-laws to hang out until we hear back about the situation at the battlefront. Just to clarify something from the original post, I did not plan everything for the wedding. I offered to bring food for a small luncheon between photos, 10 a.m. and the ceremony, 4 p.m., as dinner wasn't planned until 6 p.m. It was going to be a long day at the farm in the middle of nowhere. I offered to do it to be nice, but also to make sure no one, specifically a certain 4-year-old, would be hangry for the ceremony. Sister-in-law also only used one of my vendor contacts, so with things going south, my professional reputation shouldn't really be impacted. And we have a small update, but yeah, it seems like it was intentional.
Yeah, 100%
Which
targeted.
red flag, which I understand why brother-in-law is like, I don't know if I want to get married in the car.
Yeah.
We got an update. Turns out the no seat for OP issue was the problem that broke brother-in-law's relationship. And we're a bit upset brother-in-law didn't talk to anyone about this until it blew up. Behind the scenes, brother-in-law and sister-in-law were having arguments about their future together. Most of these arguments centered around having kids. Early on, sister-in-law gave the impression that she wanted children someday, but as they got more serious, she started backtracking. A few months ago, brother-in-law realized that it's very likely sister-in-law never wanted kids, but felt too invested in the relationship to leave. But brother-in-law always imagined having a large family, so this really shook him. On top of that, sister-in-law apparently had jealousy and insecurity issues. Per brother-in-law, I've been her latest target. So sister-in-law was jealous
Wow.
of OP.
Backtracking about a lot.
Which started when I turned down going to a mani-pedi with her. Why did I turn it down? Well, husband and son had rotavirus. Apparently, I was icing her out by not wanting to spread a gastrointestinal doom. Can anyone please explain that logic to us? Lastly, sister-in-law was apparently already floating the idea of disinviting our son from the reception because he would have been the only small child there. Brother-in-law shut that down immediately, and mother-in-law/father-in-law kept that knowledge from us to spare our feelings. Ergo, our lost RSVP was not a software glitch, nor was it an oversight, but rather a stupidly calculated move. Sister-in-law was apparently hoping one of two things would happen. Either I would make a scene about being disinvited and would be seen as the problem, or we would quietly accept our fate and she would not have to deal with two undesirables at a reception. With all this in mind, I can't figure out why she would have messaged my husband instead of me. Was she trying to cause more family drama? Again, the logic is not logicking. By the way, if you want logic that logics, you should listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. There's a little bit more to the story, and we're going to go straight on into it. Brother-in-law was already feeling some uncertainty because of the shifting kids/no kids conversation, but the deliberate seeding stunt gave him the last push and clarity he needed. Brother-in-law told my husband it was a level of manipulation and cruelty that he could not overlook. So he ended things, asked for the ring back. Do you think brother-in-law was right to do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She had been lying about so much between that, and the kids.
And that's a big thing.
That's a big thing.
Even if she wasn't lying and she just like kind of came to the realization, that would be a reason to end the relationship too.
Yeah.
No wedding, no reception, just a super messy, emotionally heavy, and expensive breakup. And I feel so bad for brother-in-law. He's going through so much heartache right now, but he deserves a better partner. Hopefully, sister-in-law can find a family dynamic that doesn't feel like a never-ending battlefield. That's all for now. I'm still tired. I'm still flabbergasted, but I'm also relieved this wedding arc is coming to an end. We got some comments. Comment 1, still better than finding out after the wedding. True.
Yeah.
OP responds, so true. I wish she told us how sister-in-law took the news. I'm surprised she didn't lash out at OP for ruining her life. Another drama. And comment 2, she's probably jealous that mother-in-law and OP get along and like each other. We're Snoopy me up. And comment 3, children are one thing you can't compromise over. He would have built up so much resentment wanting kids while all his family and friends are having them. Best outcome for everyone in the long run. And comment 4, brother-in-law is hurting now, but when he gets with the right person who honors his values and is easy to live with, he will be extremely happy to have gone through this. And that is where this story and this stream ends.
Whoa.
We're here. So if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.